Hello students, we are going to start with rotational dynamics. When I say that a particle is performing or an object is performing a rotational motion, what is happening is that each and every particle of that rigid body which is rotating is in fact performing a circular motion about an axis of rotation. So different particles may have different radius of the circular path, and the circular motion of all those particles will be with the same angular velocity. But before we actually go for understanding rotational motion of an object, we need to basically understand circular motion very well and the terms involved in circular motion. If I have a look at this diagram, I find that the figure shows that the particle is performing a circular motion in anticlockwise direction with O as center, R as radius. What exactly do we mean by circular motion of an object? We will say that the object is said to perform circular motion if it is moving along the circumference of a circle. So here in this figure, we are considering the object to move in the anticlockwise sense, and initially if the object was at point A at time t is equal to 0, and after some time t, if the particle has traced length of arc AB equal to s and the new position of particle is at point B such that measure angle AOB is equal to theta, then this measure angle AOB is equal to theta is actually known as angular displacement of the object. So I have now come to another thing that is called angular displacement theta, that it is the angle traced by a radius vector in the given time at the center of the circle. Now I use a word called radius vector here. That radius vector actually is a vector which starts from the center and it is moving to the object. So here in this figure, vector OA and vector OB, they are the radius vector. Even if the magnitude of the radius vector remains the same, the direction of radius vector will change continuously in case of circular motion. So the radius vector in case of circular motion continuously changes. Now in this figure, we understand that in time t, measure angle AOB is equal to theta is called its angular displacement here. So this is its angular displacement. If I say that I allow very small time called as delta t, and in that time delta t, if delta theta is very small angular displacement, then delta theta would be called as instantaneous angular displacement at that particular given instant of time. Now because it's an angle, we have its SI unit as radian, and angular displacement theta is a dimensionless physical quantity, whereas small angular displacement delta theta can be considered as a vector quantity because vector laws of addition can be applied for very small angular displacements delta theta. As you see, delta theta is actually related to your value delta s, where delta s can be the very small length of the arc, and that delta s, whenever it is very small, it will obey the laws of vector addition. That's why even delta theta obeys laws of vector addition. So angular displacement delta theta can be considered as a vector quantity, and the direction of delta theta is given by right hand rule, that if you are considering in this diagram the object to move in the anticlockwise sense, that delta theta is going to point in the upward direction, whereas if the particle starts moving in the clockwise sense, the angle as you see, that angular displacement vector can be pointing in the downward direction. Now we come to a you see next term which we very frequently use in circular motion, that's called angular velocity. What is meant by angular velocity? Actually it is you see, velocity is the rate at which the displacement takes place. In case of circular motion, we will define angular velocity as the rate at which angular displacement takes place. So you have omega is equal to theta upon time, where theta is the angular displacement considered in time t. Whereas if I have already said that delta t in the next further time delta t, if delta theta is the angular displacement, then omega is equal to limit as delta t tending to 0, delta theta by delta t is equal to d theta by dt, will be considered to be the instantaneous angular velocity at that particular instant of time. If at all your particle is performing a UCM called uniform circular motion, this delta theta by delta t, or that instantaneous angular velocity and average angular velocity, they will always be equal. Whereas if the particle is not performing uniform circular motion, the angular velocity would be changing with respect to time. The value of instantaneous angular velocity and average angular velocity, they would be different. Now because it is, you see, theta upon time, it is radian per second is going to be the angular SI unit of angular velocity. The dimension of omega is, because it is radian is dimensionless, it's only time raised to -1 is the dimension of omega. As we have already considered delta theta, or that angular displacement, as a vector quantity, even angular velocity is a vector quantity and its direction is same as that of the angular displacement, once again given by right hand rule. Now if you consider a particle performing circular motion in such a way that you see average angular velocity we are going to talk about as omega, and in time capital T called as time period, one complete circular motion takes place. So angular displacement theta is equal to 2 pi radian, and then you find omega is equal to theta upon t as 2 pi upon t, and that is equal to, you see, 2 pi n. So this becomes a very important formula in case of angular velocity, that omega is equal to 2 pi by capital T, or it is equal to 2 pi n. Some people can even write it as 2 pi f, where f or that n stands for the frequency of revolution. We now go for the next very important term involved in circular motion. If at all the circular motion is non-uniform circular motion, it means the value of omega will change continuously. Then we define this term called as angular acceleration. What is meant by acceleration we have already studied. Acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity. So angular acceleration is defined as the rate at which angular velocity changes, or it is the rate of change of angular velocity with respect to time. If you say omega 1 is the initial angular velocity of the particle performing circular motion, and after time t the angular velocity changes to some new value called as omega 2, then alpha is equal to change in the angular velocity, that is omega 2 minus omega 1 divided by time t. Whereas if at all you allow very small time delta t, in which the change in the angular velocity is delta omega, then once again by using the limiting case, you understand that alpha is equal to, it is d omega by dt, is the instantaneous angular acceleration of a particle performing circular motion. Now because it is omega upon time, its SI unit is going to be radian per second divided by second. That gives you radian per second square. Now it's a vector quantity, whereas if I have to decide what is the direction of omega, what is the direction of alpha, angular acceleration, I have to be a bit careful deciding that if at all the particle's angular velocity keeps increasing with time, then omega 2 is greater than omega 1 as shown in this figure 1, and then alpha is positive, alpha will be in the direction of omegas. Whereas if at all omega 1 is greater than omega 2, that is, as the particle keeps performing circular motion, the final angular velocity becomes less than the initial angular velocity, then in that case the direction of alpha is opposing that angular velocity, so it's going to be in the downward direction opposing that omega value. So that's a very important thing we all have to note. We then define another important term in case of circular motion of a particle, that is called linear velocity. As defined earlier, linear velocity is the rate at which linear displacement is taking place. And if at all delta s is very small linear displacement taking place in time called as delta t, then we have got v is equal to limit as delta t tending to 0, delta s by delta t can be considered as ds by dt. Because it is velocity, its SI unit is meter per second and dimensions are length raised to 1, time raised to minus 1. The direction of linear velocity v in case of particle performing circular motion is very clearly shown in this figure. At every instant of time, the direction of linear velocity is perpendicular to the radius vector position at that particular position of particle. So instantaneous values of vector r and vector v, as we were saying, vector r changes continuously its value, even vector v will be changing its value continuously in such a way that always vector r and vector v are perpendicular to each other in case of even particle if it is performing circular motion. Their values, vectors will be changing, magnitudes even if they are remaining same, vectors are changing. The next term for us to know is linear acceleration. It is defined as the rate of change of linear velocity, as we have been defining that earlier in our earlier standards as well. SI unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Usually we have been defining, or maybe mathematical expression was v minus u upon t, whereas because we are considering in this case delta t is a very small time in which the linear velocity changes by delta v, then acceleration, instantaneous acceleration is given by dv by dt. So that is the acceleration in case of a particle performing circular motion. Even the direction of acceleration will be continuously changing in this case. We then go for a very important relationship between the angular velocity and linear velocity of a particle performing circular motion. Very popularly, it is the proof of v is equal to r omega in terms of magnitude, whereas in vector terms it is that vector v is equal to vector omega cross vector r. I see once again the same diagram earlier in which we have got a particle performing UCM, or maybe just a circular motion I would say, in which initially the particle was at point A at time t is equal to 0, and after a very small time delta t the particle has moved to some new position called as B. So that measure angle AOB is equal to delta theta is the instantaneous angular displacement. The linear displacement taken place has become equal to delta s, that is your length of arc AB, and you see radius vector is given by vector r. Now what we have by mathematics, we know that delta s is equal to delta theta cross delta r, and then if I divide both sides by delta t, because delta t is very small but not equal to 0, so we can divide that and then take limit as delta t tending to 0, I then understand that this ds by dt is actually equal to v. It's by mistake written as u, it has to be v, called linear velocity. Delta theta by delta t is equal to d theta by dt is equal to angular velocity omega, and then your equation 2 is then going to become v is equal to omega cross r, vector v is equal to omega cross r. Now if you once again recall what were the directions of omega and r, omega was perpendicular to the plane of the circular path and r was in the plane of the circular path. So omega and r, they are always perpendicular. So because they are perpendicular, cross product has got maximum value equal to AB sine theta, that is it's only equal to r into omega is the value of velocity in terms of magnitude. So in magnitude you can write this equation as v is equal to r omega. So that is the equation which we wanted to prove, that linear velocity in case of circular motion of a particle is given by v is equal to r omega. Please keep that in mind that this equation is also correct in the vector form, and it is not vector v is equal to r cross omega will not give you a correct direction. So that is about the part 1 of this rotational dynamics. which is involving circular motion of a particle.